Welcome into the first live Sunday Locked On Fantasy Football episode. I am your host, Michelle Majuk. I'm joined by the amazing Michael Fabiano. Today, we'll be going through all the inactives, let you know which replacements you can trust or not, and then answer all of your start-sit questions. So start sending them in now. We are going to get through the inactives first, and then we'll get to all of the questions after that. But let's jump right into those inactives, Fabs, because wow, this week is crazy with guys hurt this week. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Not too much there, but Kyler Murray is not going to be starting on Monday night. Jacoby Brissett will be the starter. I mean, against the Cowboys, he's actually a viable option.
I have Jacoby Brissett in my top 15 quarterbacks this week. So yeah, hopefully you picked him up. If you have Kyler, expecting to start him. And I mean, Brissett actually hadn't been bad. And some would say the offense actually has looked better with Brissett than Kyler. I'm not saying that Kyler's going to lose his job, but Brissett is a startable play. It's crazy, and this is why fantasy football is so unpredictable. Jacoby Brissett and Bam freaking Knight will be starting in a lot of leagues this week. No one predicted that back in the preseason. That is for sure.
And we're excited to start both, which is wild, especially Bam Knight. I have him in a couple of my lineups, and he should do well against the Cowboys. With the other quarterbacks, Bryce Young is expected to be back, or he will be back against the Packers, though. So, much rather play Jacoby Brissett, right? And then you have quarterbacks on bye, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield. So you might have to start a guy like Jacoby Brissett, but I mean, it's not a bad case.
You could do worse. Yeah. Honestly, you could do worse because I'm actually in a couple of leagues where I'm starting Jacoby Brissett, and it's not necessarily a super flex league, just because the Cowboys are awful. Awful against quarterbacks. And so they're like a cheat code. I mean, every single quarterback basically. Remember Russell Wilson had 5,000 yards in a game against them earlier in the season? Okay, I'm exaggerating, but Russell is not even a starter in the league anymore. The Cowboys are just a bad defense. And even though I am wearing my Cowboy stuff, because I do love the Cowboys, I do hate Jerry Jones, but I still love Dallas. You start offensive players going up against this defense.
Unfortunately, our two favorite teams, the Steelers and the Cowboys, are the two worst defenses in the league. And when a player goes against those defenses, you start them. But we should move on because there's a lot of running backs that are out this week. And that gets to the juicy questions here with what guys you can start that are replacing them. So DeAndre Swift is out with a groin injury. Rhamondre Stevenson out with a toe injury. Isaiah Pacheco out for weeks with a knee injury. So Kyle Monagai gets to face the Bengals for the Bears. He's going to take Swift's role. TreVeyon Henderson hopefully will finally get an opportunity with the Patriots. He'll face the Falcons. And then Kareem Hunt gets a nice matchup against the Bills, and he should see a bigger workload with Pacheco out. So which of those three guys do you trust the most stepping into the starting role?
I dig Monangai big time. And by the way, speaking of that Bengals-Bears game, Joe Flacco is active.
Okay, good.
So as good as he's been, you could play him. 4 teams on a bye, and maybe you have Kyler, for example, or a quarterback with a bad matchup. So Joe Flacco is active. But I love Monangai. The Bengals have been awful against running backs this season. I mean, the Bengals are just awful. Look what Breece Hall did to him last week. So Monangai is definitely a player that I like. Bam Knight is definitely a player I like this week if you're looking at replacements. And then, you talked about some of the other injuries that are going on. Isaiah Pacheco is out. Kareem Hunt's a very good play. Buffalo's defense, they've faced a lot of good running backs this year. So, I don't want to say that they're awful against running backs, but the stats suggest that Kareem Hunt should give you a good floor in this game, maybe 12 to 13, 14 points in terms of the floor. So I definitely am in on him. But the guy that I really like the most is Monangai, and Henderson now has a chance.
I know.
You're telling me there's a chance for him to actually get enough carries and get enough touches and be a big part of this offense where he can come in and make an impact and maybe push Rhamondre Stevenson to the side. I don't know if that's going to happen because Vrabel loves his veterans. But this is his chance to prove that, I am actually well worth that second round pick that the Patriots took on me. And now I'm going to start to produce for fantasy managers because a lot of us have been waiting forever for this guy to get in there and put up some numbers. So all 3 guys and then Bam Knight as a replacement, very startable.
They all are for sure. The Henderson one does make you most nervous for some reason because you just know, they're going to get some other guy involved, and who knows what's going to happen there. But if you've been holding on to TreVeyon Henderson this entire season, it's almost like you have to play him, right?
Yeah, right. This is like the moment you've been waiting for.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, you have to play him. I mean, you don't have to play him, but I mean, 4 teams off and all the injuries. I mean, he's going to be in a lot of lineups.
Yeah, and with Kyle Monagai, it's hard to see him not as a top 15 option this week in that matchup.
I got him in my listen, he is a very good back. Roshan Johnson's also banged up too. Like they got Travis Homer. I mean, that's it. So Monangai, unless the game script gets crazy, which I don't think it will, I mean, he should get a minimum of like 18 touches in this game, a minimum.
Yeah, and so he's a fantastic play. And like you already brought up, Henderson, Kareem Hunt are all playable. Bam Knight, love him against the Cowboys. Moving on to wide receivers, because we have quite a bit of injuries there too. Travis Hunter got placed on IR after suffering a non-contact injury in practice. So that stinks. He's out, and he had a career game before the Jaguars bye this past week. So now they get the Raiders. This is a great matchup for wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr. needs to step up. How much does this push up Brian Thomas Jr. now that Travis Hunter's out?
He better step up because the Raiders stink against wide receivers. They're bad. I think they give up 9 touchdowns to perimeter receivers or the receiver position, regardless of alignment. So yeah, Brian Thomas Jr.'s got to step up. He's a little ding, but he's good to go. I think Parker Washington and De'Ami Brown, if you need help, if you're desperate, either one of those two guys is startable because, again, the Raiders are not good against wide receivers with Hunter out. So, if you're looking for a last-minute waiver wire guy, like either one of those players is a startable asset. I have them ranked very closely. Maybe I'd go with Washington slightly ahead of De'Ami Brown, but they're both very close, like same kind of tier. So both of those guys are potential sleepers. And then Chicago, we'll go back to Chicago. How about Olamide Zaccheaus? Because Luther Burden's hurt too. So that in a potential barn burner, that could be a high scoring game. The Bears and the Bengals. He's also a guy that if you're like needing help, like I'm in a league where I'm starting both Parker Washington and Zaccheaus. Why? Because I've lost Terry McLaurin in that league because he's not going to play. And now we're hearing reports that he's not going to play in week 10 either. Great. He has not lived up to expectations. And I've got other players that are just dinged up or don't love their matchup. So I'm hoping for a decent game from those guys.
Yeah, Parker Washington I would prefer in full PPR leagues, and then De'Ami Brown I would prefer in a standard league. If it's half PPR, I don't know. Roll the dice there between the two. Yeah. Terry McLaurin unfortunately re-injured his quad injury that made him already miss many games. So who knows how long he'll be out for. But they should move up Deebo Samuel a bit, especially with Jaden Daniels back. Calvin Ridley is out. Shamir DK, it could be a possible good play. Their 4th-round rookie. He has led the team lately. Yeah, he's led the team in receiving yards the last 2 weeks. He's getting way more playing time. He was on the field for about 80% of the time last week. So DK's a possibility this week against the Chargers.
Yeah, and you would also think that the Chargers are going to boat race the Titans badly. So that could end up being a situation where game script just means that, poor Cam Ward's got to throw the ball a bunch in the second half. And, DK has been the beneficiary over the last couple of weeks over Alec Iomanner and basically everyone else in that Titans offense. The Panthers inactives have come out, and there's no real notable players on the list. But remember, there's a report that Rico Dowdle will be the starter this week and get the majority of the carries, which about time. I know Chuba Hubbard was really good last year, but last year was last year. So Rico is the play. Hubbard, likely a guy that
Hubbard cannot play against the Packers.
I prefer to bench him this week if I can.
Yeah. Hubbard, even if they didn't come out with this report, was not a playable guy because he hasn't been good whatsoever. His efficiency has been terrible, and this is a bad matchup. I love Rico Dowdle, and I'm happy they're finally going to lean on him, but it's still risky to even play him against the Packers. But with them coming out and saying that if he gets the workload, he should be okay.
But if Rico can be the Rico that we saw in the 2 games when Hubbard was out, he's going to help Carolina stay in that game.
True.
So, and that's what we're hoping for. And not for nothing, but Rico actually can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So he's in my top 20.
I like it. He's just outside of my top 20, but I do think he's a playable RB2. Now, Cooper Kupp, he was very unlikely to play with multiple injuries. I don't know if we have the official inactive on him yet, but I do think that makes Torrey Horton a pretty solid play against this Commanders defense, giving up a lot of points 2 wide receivers, specifically slot wide receivers. So if Horton gets to play more slot snaps with Cooper Kupp out, this could be a really sneaky start. It's more of like in deeper leagues, you probably don't desperately need him, but he is a sleeper option.
And AJ Barner too. AJ Barner is a good play if you're hurting at tight end because Cooper Kupp is banged up. And Seattle doesn't have this like depth of wide receivers behind he and JSN. So AJ Barner. Yeah, I said it. I'm starting him in one of my leagues. It's a tight end premium. So I'm starting him in one of my leagues and I'm hoping for the best. When you have 4 teams off and you have all these injuries, guys, sometimes you just got to, throw darts, and that Barner's a dart. Horton would be a dart. Zacchaeus is a dart. Washington's a dart. It's educated guesses, but they're all darts, and you hope that one of them hits a bullseye.
Absolutely. Now keep throwing in those questions in here. Start sit questions. We promise we'll get to those. We're just going to finish up these inactives, and then we'll get to all the questions that you have and help you set those lineups for week 9. I have one last question about wide receivers. It's not a wide receiver injured because Nico Collins is coming back from the concussion, but Pat Surtain is out. How much better does that make you feel about Nico Collins? Because against this Broncos defense, you would have felt real bad, but without Surtain, where's Nico Collins ranking for you this week?
Yeah, I mean, he's in my top 15 this week. No question about that. And yeah, of course, Surtain being out, that helps. I will say this though. That has like all the looks of like a 17-13 game and not a very fantasy friendly game. Houston's defense is nasty good. I mean, they are nasty good. So can I still see Nico, giving you, 6 for 80 and a touchdown? Sure. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in that game. In fact, I don't love either quarterback, and Bo Nix has been red hot for the last 2 weeks. So beware that game. Like I'm starting Cortland Sutton, but I'm starting him kind of begrudgingly because I don't love the matchup. I think Nico is a little bit better of a start because, as you mentioned, Surtain is out.
Yeah, I'm really low on Cortland Sutton this week. You have to get really bold to play these other guys like DK or Torrey Horton over him, but I will not be surprised if they did outscore Cortland Sutton. Sutton has had a couple just dud games this year. He's been solid overall, but a couple games with like 1 or 2 points, and I could see that happening again this week. The wide receivers on bye this week are AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Garrett Wilson, and Emeka Egbuka. Those are the most notable top guys on bye. So you need to find replacements for them. Moving to tight ends, the tight ends on bye: David Njoku, Harold Fannin Jr. for the Browns, Dallas Goedert. Those are the main names. Mason Taylor, maybe Cade Otton if you're streaming them, but Brock Bowers is back finally. He's been missing time with an injury.
Thank God.
Yes. I mean, he wasn't performing all that well, but he was trying to play through the injury. So hopefully now he's healthy. How confident do you play in him? Are you? Like, is he a top 5 guy for you this week? And then how much should this help out the entire Raiders offense with like Ashton Genty?
Well, I mean, they're as healthy as they've been, right? I mean, Jacoby Myers is going to be a go. It's a good matchup. Trey Tucker, it's a good matchup. So we'll see. Geno Smith needs to stop throwing the ball to the wrong team because he's been dreadful this year. Going back to the Panthers, the team has officially announced that Rico Dotto will start today, just so you guys know. Something we already knew, but you're good to go there. And Brock Purdy is inactive. So Mac Jones will get the start, which we all expected against Big Blue in that game in New Jersey. So a couple of other factors there. The tight end position this week, going back to that, Michelle, again, a lot of dart throws, AJ Barner. I will say one tight end who I love this week, and if you have him and you need help, Zach Ertz. No Terry McLaurin. Look at Jaden Daniels' numbers to Ertz as compared to Marcus Mariota. Daniels has faith in this guy. Mariota doesn't throw to him as much. I really like Zach Ertz this week in that game tonight. So if you need help at tight end, Zach Ertz is a very playable asset with no Terry McLaurin and with Jaden Daniels back.
And Colston Loveland should be a viable play against the Bengals this week. Cole Kmet is going to play. He's off the
he's active. Yeah.
It would have made it so much easier if he was out, but maybe Kmet is a play, but with Luther Burden Jr. out, or Luther Burden II, maybe they play, they get both Kmet and Loveland on the field more often, but you cannot ask for a better matchup for tight ends than the Bengals. So one of those guys, or maybe both, should have a good game. So if you're getting real desperate there at tight end, you can go that route. We are going to take a quick break, but I want you guys to send in all your questions because we're going to get to all of your start sit questions right after this break. And we have the next 45 minutes with y'all. So we have lots of time to answer all of your questions.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it, because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, let's get into these start-sit questions. We have a good one here, which we just talked about. Cooper Kupp is likely out, so people are going to be asking about Torrey Horton. And this one is Torrey Horton or Jordan Addison against the Lions, full PPR. This is pretty easy for me. I'm going to stick with Jordan Addison and not get too cute here.
I am too. I don't want to get cute, but I have JJ McCarthy PTSD. I'm telling you, I am scared of my Addison shares. I am scared of my Jefferson shares. I am scared of my Hawkinson shares. I like literally, like, go to church this morning. I'm like, please God, let JJ McCarthy be halfway decent. I don't pray for fantasy. I'm just kidding, guys. But yeah, Addison is the play here. It's just, I wish I was more confident in him.
Yeah, it is a little scary with JJ McCarthy. I totally get you with TJ Hawkinson. Like he's not a play. You cannot play TJ Hawkinson. I don't care. I need to see his connection with McCarthy. We have not got to see Addison with McCarthy yet. So we'll see what that looks like. But he has been heavily involved and has, been doing.
He's been great.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
I am one of those people who hope that the Vikings trade for like Kirk Cousins or something. I have so many shares of Justin Jefferson. I hope I'm wrong. And you want to hear, guys, how the folks in the fantasy industry view Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison? I have leagues where I threw out, hey guys, Jefferson is on the trade block. If you guys are interested, let me know. Jordan Addison, same thing. You know how many responses I got, Michelle? 0. People are worried.
They are. I mean, I get it. But maybe JJ McCarthy will surprise us after sitting on the bench. And it's not like Carson Wentz started to go down a little bit. So, and he was.
I know, but I'd still rather have Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hope.
All right. We got a running back question here. Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, Tony Pollard, or Brashard Smith. Brashard Smith might get more work against this Bills defense with Isaiah Pacheco out. We'll see how much he's involved. This is full PPR. I definitely do not want to start Tony Pollard no matter what. Tajay Spears has gotten way more involved. We expect this to be a big blowout game by the Chargers, right? And Pollard's just done nothing even when Spears wasn't there. I think I'm going to just stick with Bill Krosky Merritt and go with him against the Seahawks, even though he's kind of a one-hit wonder at this point with one good game.
He's had one good game. It was against the Chargers, but I agree with you. Smith, I don't know how much work he's going to get. It's his first game where he's like the number 2 guy. The matchup's actually good, but at least I know with JCM, I'm going to get touches. And so I'm hoping for a touchdown. I will go there. Yeah, Tony Pollard's been a dud. I kind of hope he gets traded at the deadline. That'll be interesting next week. But yeah, I would go with Bill out of that group.
Yeah, it's not one I want to play. That's for sure. But I understand that it can get pretty weak out there on waivers, especially if you're in a deeper league. A wide receiver question: Brian Thomas Jr. against the Raiders or Teteroa McMillan against the Packers in the flex? This has to be Brian Thomas Jr. with Travis Hunter out. And the Raiders are an amazing matchup. They're allowing the second most points per game to wide receivers this year, just behind the Cowboys. That's the only team that's allowing more. And if he can't do it, in this matchup and Trevor Lawrence and him can't click, then I don't know what's happening. And with McMillan, he's in Green Bay. That's really, really hard for Bryce Young to be able to do much playing at the Packers.
Yeah, I would prefer BTJ as well, Trey. So hopefully he goes out there and has a big game. For all the reasons that Michelle mentioned. No Travis Hunter, great matchup against the Raiders, and Jacksonville's coming off a bye. They got smoked before that, so maybe they have a little motivation to go in and win a game. Actually, can you believe they beat the Chiefs at one point? So I mean, so BTJ is the play there. I actually don't mind McMillan. If you look at the numbers, Green Bay's not been great against wide receivers this year, and they could be behind, so maybe they're throwing the ball in the second half. But I do like BTJ better.
Yeah, I actually have Brian Thomas Jr. ranked as my wide receiver 13 right now. I could look really stupid after this because it doesn't seem like he fits in this Liam Cohen offense all too well. And he's pretty scared about going over the middle and coming down with a catch. But come on, against this Raiders defense, put it together. Next question, we have a 1 point PPR. Need 2 of the 4. Khalil Shakir, Kyle Monagai, Gadsden. So this would be in the flex, I'm guessing, that you have to play him.
Yep.
And then Kareem Hunt, also Bam or Alvin Kamara. Okay, so 2 of these 6 players. Who you going?
So Monangai is a lock for me out of this group. And so the second player would be Hunt or Gadsden. And I typically like to go with the running back. I know I'm getting the touches there. So I'm probably going to go Kareem Hunt. I know a lot of people probably would say Gadsden. I'm just waiting until he's had 2 huge games in a row. Like, how long can he keep the streak going? So I'm going to go with the 2 running backs. And then I'm going Bam over Kamara. Kamara's averaging 10 points a game. The Saints are a dumpster fire. They're starting a rookie quarterback. The only way that Kamara has a good game for fantasy managers today is if he catches like 5 or 6 passes, honestly, because they're not going to do anything on the ground. So it is insane to me that in week 9, we are talking about Bam Knight as a better start than Alvin Kamara. But here we are. I want, Michelle, I want your input on Gadsden because, listen, I've got him in my top 6 tight ends. He's been spectacular. But at what point, do we see a little bit of a dip? Because those numbers that he's had the last couple of weeks, I'm not sure how sustainable they are. Right now, he's just a guy that's so hot, you got to play him, right?
Yeah, in your tight end spot for sure, if you have him.
Yes.
He is my tight end 7, but tight end 7 could score less points than the wide receiver 30, right? I much prefer not to go with a tight end in your flex spot unless you have in one league, I have George Kittle and Trey McBride because it was this weird trade that I did. So I'm playing both of them, and I am playing one in the flex. But no, in this situation, I think you have better options. So I would go Monagai and I'd go Hunt for my 2 out of those 4, and then definitely Bam Knight over Kamara. You're right. And the one thing we don't know about Kamara is, will Tyler Shook target him more than Spencer Rattler did? Because he's just has not been involved in the passing game like he has been in the prior years. But at Bam Knight against this Cowboys defense, you got to go there. We have another running back question.
That's a great picture. I love that.
That's very cute. Kenneth Walker, Trey Henderson, Bam Knight. Start 1 in PPR. It is wild that I'm not just saying Kenneth Walker right now, but he might be my last out of this group.
Yeah, he is. Because Seattle hates him. I don't know why.
They hate him so much.
I hate Kenneth Walker. Trade him to Houston or something. But no, the answer is TreVeyon Henderson. And Henderson hasn't been good either. It's all about opportunity, guys. You have to remember, matchup is huge. Matchup is obviously huge. I mean, it's what I do my research on. It's what we do. But volume is also big. And the volume is going to be there for Henderson, you would think. If Terrell Jennings comes out there and has 10 touches, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay? But you would think Henderson's going to be the guy. So I'm going to give him the ball, and hopefully he runs with it and scores us some fantasy points finally.
I'm going to go with Henderson here as well. I think the safest play, if you need just 10 points, would be Bam Knight against the Cowboys. But with Henderson getting a shot, he's Kenneth Walker and Henderson are obviously much more talented overall than Bam Knight. But Henderson, should be getting the majority of these touches we'll see after the bye. Maybe they realize stop giving the ball to Zach Charbonnet, who can't do anything. But
I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's Carolina figured out in 3 weeks that Rico Dowdle's better, but Seattle can't figure that out. I like Zach Charbonnet is a good back, but he is not even close to being as dynamic or explosive as Ken Walker, and they keep giving the ball to Sharps.
And when they get around the goal line, it's not even a question. They put in
Always
Charbonnet.
Sharps. Yeah.
It's always Charbonnet. And he has been scoring. I mean, it's not like he's been struggling in that area. So, but yeah, it's not for Kenneth Walker, who doesn't get targets and then also can't get touchdowns. His floor and ceiling are just way too low.
Yep.
My wife is coming in here with a question.
Hey, hello, Kate.
Inconsistent Jameson Williams or Troy Franklin with Marvin Mims out. I'm going Jameson Williams because I think Troy Franklin was one of those plays last week that was like, yeah, he's going against the Cowboys. Great play. But that's not happening this week, unless it's against the Cowboys or the Steelers. You can't just play a guy like Troy Franklin. So
I'm going I agree.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I'm going JMO too. I know he's been very inconsistent, Kate. You're right, but I'm going to go with JMO here in a high scoring game. And hopefully, he catches a 60-yard touchdown pass from Jared Goff and it's a win.
Yeah, it probably has to be in the first half, right? We'll see how much JJ McCarthy can hold his own and keep the Vikings in this game against the Lions. But if they start to get up big, then it could be a running game. But I actually really like Jared Goff this week.
Me too.
So with liking Jared Goff, Jameson Williams should have a big play in there. We have another question, Dobbs or Addison. So Romeo Dobbs against the Panthers or Jordan Addison against those Lions.
I'm going Dobbs.
Whoa, tell me why.
Because of JJ McCarthy. I'm scared. I'm just scared. I think the matchup is good for Dobbs. I have him ranked higher than Addison. Maybe I'm going to ultimately be wrong. Maybe JJ McCarthy comes on and has a big game, but the Lions are going to be hunting today, and they're going to be hunting Michigan quarterbacks who looked like a deer in the headlights for 7 of 8 quarters in the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm going to go Dobbs here.
I'm going to go Addison. He's been heavily involved. I get it's a different quarterback, but I do just think he's the much better play because you never know what Packers player is going to be the top guy in any given week. And it rarely seems to be Dobbs. He can come down with a touchdown for sure. But with Christian Watson back, with Tucker Kraft going off, with this being against the Panthers at home where you think they could run the ball a ton, I'm going to go with Addison because I expect them to be down in this game and have to throw a lot. So I'd stick there. That's actually is that the first one we didn't agree on?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, so we'll have to keep tabs on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have PPR wide receiver question. Xavier Worthy. No, thank you. Juwan Jennings or DJ Moore. Woof, I don't want any of those.
You may have to go with Worthy here, Patrick, kind of by default. I actually like Jennings in this game. I don't know that I like him more than Worthy. And DJ Moore the matchup is right, but DJ Moore's been wrong all year. I mean, what's he got 2 games with double digits? So I may go just with the quarterback here, Mahomes over Mac Jones and Caleb, and go with Xavier Worthy. And then your second question, I hate to have him go Worthy twice. Quentin Johnson has disappeared since Oronde Gadsden has emerged in Los Angeles. So I don't know if I trust him enough to play him over Xavier Worthy. So if you want to split the difference, you could start Moore in team 1's lineup and Worthy in team's 2 lineup. But Worthy's the best play out of all the players that you mentioned. And I don't love him either. I got to be honest with you. I don't love him either.
I would go Quentin Johnson over him. I get it. It's 0 points last week. Nothing, not even a target. But I can't just take that one game and take away the rest of his season. And so I'm going to go with Quentin Johnson over Worthy because Worthy, even without Rashee Rice, there was not doing anything. I mean, talk about a guy who hasn't put up any points. It's definitely Worthy. So I'd rather go with a guy who's shown us quite a few weeks of good performance. And then I do think I lean DJ Moore just because of the matchup against the Bengals. But I'm okay with going Worthy over Moore there to try to go for the upside, maybe against that Bills matchup. It's a high-scoring game. Maybe you can come down with a touchdown.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it's like 35-31 and just everyone goes bananas.
Unfortunately, Juwan Jennings, without Brock Purdy, you can't, with Mac Jones, he doesn't have the connection. So if Brock Purdy was back, that would have actually been my answer against the Giants, but Brock Purdy
he's inactive.
Will be out again. Let's get to one more question. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll get to more and more questions. We'll still have a long time with y'all. So keep sending those in. Rashid Shaheed, Troy Franklin, or Jameson Williams, pick 2. So we already talked about Franklin, much harder matchup against Houston this week than last week against the Cowboys. Jameson Williams against the Vikings, and Rashid Shaheed. Blanking here who the Saints are playing.
Yeah, they're in LA to play the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm going JMO and Franklin because I don't trust Shuck. I don't know what I'm getting from Tyler Shuck. I'm actually fearful of Chris Olave this week. There's not a Saint I trust in that lineup at all. So I'm going to go with and listen, Troy Franklin may have 5 points this week because last week, I mean, I loved him because it's the Cowboys and their defense stinks. And now you got a tougher matchup. But again, Marvin Mims is banged up, so maybe there's more opportunities. He's got a rapport with Bo Nix. They went to college together. It's hard for me to say start any Saint right now if you've got someone else who's on the same level in terms of the value or the matchup.
It is hard. Now, Shuck does have a big arm, so maybe Shaheed can come down with a big play, but I'm with you. I would go Jamison Williams for sure, and then I think Troy Franklin, because even in a hard matchup, the last 2 weeks, he has gotten quite a few targets. So I would lean there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get to the rest of the questions. We still have 30 minutes with you guys to get through all the start-sit questions, so send those over, and we will make sure to help you set your Week 9 lineups. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their inventory leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Their part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Let's continue with our Week 9 start-sit advice. To recap some inactives here before we do that, DeAndre Swift is out. Rhamondre Stevenson out. Isaiah Pacheco out. Travis Hunter is on IR. Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley will not play. Do we have official news on Cooper Kupp?
No, that's a later game.
Okay, but it seems like Cooper Kupp will be inactive.
Yeah, don't have him in your lineup.
Yes. Brock Bowers will be back. Pat Surtain will be out, which is huge for Nico Collins. And then Kyler Murray will not be starting for the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. So Jacoby Brissett is an option there with Bryce Young and Jaden Daniels back on the field. To continue our questions, we have a really good one here. And I have a feeling this is going to be hard for you because you've been talking him up. Gadsden or Ferguson, Fabs, who you taking?
Woo, man, this one is tough and it is close. I'm going Ferguson still. I know he had zip last week. I get it. But I mean, he's been the best tight end in fantasy football. I would say this, B Mills, 1987, try and trade Gadsden now while his value is high. You probably aren't going to be able to trade him in the next hour, but
you could maybe.
Because you don't need both. And you've got a position where people are in need big time. So you could probably get a bit of a king's ransom. Well, maybe not, but at least a prince's ransom for Rhamondre Gadsden right now.
I think this is a perfect time to sell him. It doesn't mean like if you have him and he's your main tight end, keep him, right? Like finding a good tight end is very hard, but when you already have a good tight end, then that's a perfect time to take advantage and trade. But yeah, I'm going Ferguson as well. I'm willing to just account last week's terrible performance to the Broncos' tough defense. The Cardinals, on the other hand, have allowed a lot of points to tight ends this year. And the last 2 weeks, Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft each scored over 16 fantasy points against them. I mean, in weeks 1 through 7, Ferguson had 51 receptions. It was like top 4 in the league among all positions at that point. So I think last week was a fluke. He will be much better this week. So I'm going to go with Ferguson as well.
Yep.
Josh Downs against the Steelers' deployable defense, or Jacoby Myers. Is Myers even active?
Yeah, Myers. That's a 4 o'clock game. But Myers is expected to go. So, yeah, I'm going to go Jacoby Myers based on the matchup.
I think that's fair, especially with Brock Bowers back. I think that helps him. Like, I think this helps the entire offense with Bowers back healthy. So, I don't know, because Josh Downs could come up with a huge play against the Steelers defense. Although this is what the Steelers do, I'll say, is that when everyone is giving them no hope and saying they stink, they come out and, like, I could see them like playing so hard this week and somehow beating the Colts and like stopping them.
Anything's possible in the NFL, that's for sure.
I think that's just my my fan.
Anything, yeah, but you are a Steelers fan, so I mean, there's a little bias there.
Yeah. All right, Drake May or Dak Prescott? Our first quarterback question of the day.
Oh man, so should you take this one since I'm a Cowboys fan?
I'm going Dak. I have Dak as my quarterback 5 this week against the Cardinals.
I'm with you. Yeah,
I have Drake May at quarterback 7 against the Falcons. Drake May has been great, but the Falcons, I know they just got walloped last week by the Dolphins. So confusing. They're so confusing when they beat the Bills and then just get destroyed by the Panthers and, and the Dolphins. But the Falcons do have a great pass defense, right? And I can see them performing well this week. So I'm going to go Dak.
Yeah, it's Dak, but I do love the Drake. For those of you who like Seinfeld, I love the Drake. He was my favorite breakout quarterback this year. Although I did like Caleb Williams as well, and that has not worked out so good in the last couple of weeks. But no, in this case, I'm going with Dak. Bounce back game for Dak. Should be a high scoring game, and it's always nice to have a little something else riding on a Monday night game, whether you're wagering or playing in fantasy. So I'm going to go Dak. Yeah,
I think like Dak at home, so good. Like I get it. Dak struggled last week on the road against Broncos, but he's not going to struggle at home. We have a question here saying, hello, I'm in a bit of a pickle for week 9, Joe Flacco or Jacoby Brissett. I'm going Brissett. It's just a way better matchup. Well, I mean, Flacco's matchup is okay, but Flacco, you don't know if he's going to make it through the game, right? So if you have an option like Brissett, I'm going to go with him.
In that, think about what you just said. It's crazy. Like you have a good option like Brissett, like Jacoby Brissett, the journeyman quarterback. But yeah, Mark, you're 100% on, like, in terms of the concern, with that shoulder injury for Flacco. I think it was an AC joint thing. I mean, if he takes a hit, he's an old man, right? I mean, he's 40 years old. So I would go Brissett. It's all about the matchup. This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Jacoby Brissett and that he's some great quarterback. Just the Cowboys stink. And Brissett's going in healthy. The Cardinals are a team that's, you got Marvin Harrison, you've got Trey McBride, you got some talent there. They're going to throw the football. I'd rather play it safe. I have Brissett ranked ahead of Flacco this week. And it's not because Flacco hasn't been great and the matchup's not positive. I'm just a little worried about, is he gonna start the game and finish it?
Yeah. And then also, even if he is playing through it because they like him more than Jake Browning, even with the shoulder injury, like how well is he able to sling it? I mean, that's what Flacco can do, right? Is sling it. So if his arm doesn't allow him to do that, that's also a worry. We have a tight end question. George Kittle, Dalton Kincaid, or Gadsden. He says he put Gadsden on the block and got 0 offers. So that's unfortunate.
Man, you got to get in a different league, Roland D, because trading is the most fun thing in fantasy football after the draft, at least to me. I love doing it. And it's kind of a bummer that no one is responding to your offers. So just throw offers out there. Reach out. Like if people aren't reaching out through, whatever platform you're playing on, like send them a text, assuming the people. Like, hey, let's talk. Let's negotiate. But I think you're doing 100% the right thing and putting Gadsden on the block. I'm starting Kittle over him this week. But Kittle is one of maybe 5 names at tight end that I'm starting over around a Gadsden. I mean, listen, we still got 50 minutes. It's not too late to try and make a trade. Look at a team that needs a tight end this week and see if you can pull something off.
Yeah, just start throwing out trades out there, especially if you have 3 guys. Like if this isn't a dynasty league, I know you don't want to drop any of these guys, but that has to be killing your bench depth as well. So either get him traded or you might have to drop like a Kincaid, because Kincaid would be my last out of this group. He has a hard matchup. It's inconsistent with him. But you brought up there's only a handful of guys you'd play over Gaston. And in particular, these are the ones I'd play. I have him at 7. So I'd play McBride, Tyler Warren, George Kittle, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, and Brock Bowers over him. Do you agree with that list?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So yes, Kittle would be our pick here. He's going to be so much better when Brock Purdy comes back, but even with Mac Jones, it still has to be Kittle. Which wide receiver should I take? A lot of Troy Franklin questions.
I know. because he had a big game last week.
He had a big game. But again, guys, it was just an amazing matchup. Troy Franklin, Juwan Jennings, or Jacoby Myers. And then we'll get to the quarterback question here.
See, I'm going to go Myers here again. I mean, I get it. He hasn't been great playing the Jaguars. And also, you wonder if Myers gets traded, at the deadline. And so, do the Raiders feature him in this game and throw him the ball a bunch? Listen, maybe not. I'm just throwing something out there for you. See if it sticks. So I'm going to go Myers here. And at quarterback, I got to be honest with you, I like Goff this week. I do like Goff. Like Caleb, I'm assuming you got 4 quarterbacks too, by the way, Raymond. That's a lot of quarterbacks. To me, it's between Caleb and Goff. But I think Goff is the safer play because he's at home. Last 20 games at Ford Field, he's averaging like 20 points per game. And the Vikings have gotten just smoked by the last 2 quarterbacks they have faced. Their defense has been bad. And if J.J. McCarthy can't run the offense successfully and keep the defense off the field, they're going to be burnt by the end of this game. I'm going Goff here. He's the safest play.
He is the safest play. I agree. It's interesting because his options are Flacco, Caleb Williams, Dart, or Goff. And when you look at my rankings, I have Caleb Williams actually at the top here at number 9, Jackson Dart at 10, and Jared Goff at 11. But they're back to back to back for me. I like them all. They all have their worries, right? But with Goff at home in this matchup, I do think he's the safest. While Caleb Williams should be able to destroy the Bengals.
But last 2 games, he should have been able to destroy Baltimore, and he should have been able to destroy, I don't remember who he played the week before, New Orleans, and he did neither.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But against the Bengals, hopefully. But we also love Monagai, right? So we're saying he's going to get.
Well, he's
going to steal points from Caleb Williams. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'll go
great.
Goff and Myers there. I think we can agree on that. Same question just came up. Let's go with Jackson Dart or Jacoby Brissett. Here, I'm just going to stick with Dart. He's been great. Yeah. I get it. He doesn't have Cam Scatterboo, and he did throw to him a ton, but Tyrone Tracy Jr. can catch passes out of the backfield. And the 49ers defense is not a scary one without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. So I'm going to stick with Dart. I think he scrambles a lot today, too, and can put up some yardage on the ground.
It's funny because, I do a waiver wire video and column over at Sports Illustrated, and for several weeks I had put Dart in there, and he still wasn't getting picked up. Like he was still available. You check on a sleeper, ESPN, like 50% availability. Now he's up into the 70s, which is where he belongs. The guy has failed to score more than 19 points once this year. That's it. I loved him coming out. I love the skill set. I love the big arm. And when he gets Malik Neighbors back next year and Scatterbo's back, and maybe they add somebody else, the Giants have been a team that people have been talking about in terms of maybe trading for a wide receiver. This kid's going to be that dude. And I like him in this matchup against the 49ers. As much as I like Brissett, Dart's been so good. Why would I bench him?
Yeah, he's been too good. And I know people are worried about all the injuries, but he's been dealing with these injuries and still doing it. So, yeah, we both agree there. We're going to take a quick break and we'll get back. We'll answer all the remaining questions to get you ready for week 9 and hopefully get you guys that win. We are halfway through the NFL season, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I just love how FanDuel offers people numerous ways to play. You can build parlays, you can try player props, and even put in wagers for the live lines during games. Honestly, like if the games are not fun, right? If it's a blowout, go put in a bet and all of a sudden it makes it so much more exciting. Or if your fantasy team is losing and you want another way to get in on the action, FanDuel makes it possible for you and makes it so much more fun. It just makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, let's continue with our questions today. And you got quite a lot on Twitter, so we can get to some of those. But let's recap the inactives for you. Is there anything else that came through while we're talking. I think we probably have them all for those.
Yeah, no, I think we basically got everything. Swift is out, so remember that. No DeAndre Swift in that game. So we're talking about Kyle Monangai as a player who is going to be a big play. We know that we're not going to have Terry McLaurin. That game is a little bit later on, so you can replace him. We know that Cooper Kupp is unlikely to play. That's a little bit of later game. So keep tabs on that. Brock Purdy is inactive, so Mac Jones gets the start. We'll go through all of them too here once before we wrap up the show as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We have some good questions here on Twitter that came to both of us. So one of them is Tajay Spears, Juwan Jennings, or Tony Pollard. He has actually a lot of options. Trey Tucker or Zach Ertz. He needs two of them.
Give me the names again.
Juwan Jennings, Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, Trey Tucker, or Zach Ertz.
Oh man, and it's one.
Yeah, he needs two.
Oh, I may be going Trey Tucker and Zach Ertz. I mean
I really like Tajay Spears this week.
Yeah, I do, but I also worry. It's like a 50-50 committee situation. So I do think Spears is certainly an option there too. Just for me, again, I'm like really high on Zach Ertz. If you prefer the running back in this situation, that I could see going Spears.
This is a good one. Roma Dunze, Justin Jefferson, or Michael Pittman, or Tedero McMillan. He needs two to start out of a Dunze, Jefferson, Pittman.
Oh my gosh. See, here's the problem. You got four really good ones.
Yeah.
Like four really good ones. So I don't know how you sit Roma Dunze number one. I mean, he's been great. Pittman Jr.'s great, and he's got a really good matchup. The Steelers' defense stinks. So it may be those two. Well, wait, did you say Justin Jefferson too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, God, you got to play Justin Jefferson, even though J.J. McCarthy is going to be the starter. Yeah, so I think I'm probably going with Jefferson there and a Dunze.
I'm going to go Jefferson and Pittman. I just think the matchup is way too good for Pittman. And Adunze's matchup is good too, but the Bears offense has been so up and down. I'm going to go with the offense and weirdly the quarterback that's been more consistent. Somehow Daniel Jones has been the much more consistent quarterback than Caleb Williams. The same person needs to figure out their running back start between Kyle Monagai, Tyler Warren, and Rico Dowdle. Who you taking out of those three? Just one.
Monagai.
Over Tyler Warren, or over Warren?
Yes. Yeah. I am high on Monagai. I'm telling you right now, I think he has a big game. I could be wrong, but everything says this is a Monagai game. And so I'm going to go with Kyle Monagai.
All right. I like it. And then Ferguson or Gadsden, we already answered this earlier. It's one of the few tight ends we'd play over Gadsden this week.
Yep.
And then I had a Josh Allen or Justin Herbert question. You don't sit Josh Allen ever.
I know, but you should trade one of them. I wouldn't even be opposed to trading Josh Allen if I can get something real good for him. I never want to have two high-end quarterbacks on my roster. It's a wasted start every single week. Get something for him.
It's like if it's not dynasty, absolutely. This is a good one that came in from Rachel. My good friend Rachel Tootsie Pop.
Oh yeah, we know Rachel.
Oh yeah. I love this question because this is a tough one. Would you rather? So she has Kelsey, Sam Laporta, and Jameson Williams, and now she needs to start one in tight end, one in the flex. So I feel like Kelsey has been pretty safe lately. Like you throw him in the tight end and feel good about that. But would you rather start Laporta or Jameson Williams in the flex?
I'd probably go with JMO here. And honestly, like if you want to split them, I don't even think playing both the Lions is a bad thing. Kelsey's been good, but Buffalo's defense is really tough on tight ends. Still, it's Kelsey. So I'd probably go Kelsey and JMO.
Yeah, I have Sam Laporta in too many leagues, so I want you to be wrong. But
listen, you got to play Laporta, but not in this situation. And not for nothing, but Laporta's had like 2 good games all year. I mean, he hasn't really been great this year.
You're right. He has been a big disappointment. All right. You can keep sending in your questions on YouTube if you have them. We'll get to them. We have 10 more minutes with y'all. We'll get to all your start sit questions. But for the time being, let's go through some of our favorite starts and our least favorite starts of the week that we haven't gotten to yet. So Fabs, who is like your top quarterback play? Not like outside of the elite guys, but just a quarterback you're really excited to play this week. Like mine's Daniel Jones against the Steelers. Who would be your top guy?
But Daniel Jones has been awesome too. I would say if we're talking about like streamer types, and I always love that. I always go, with the streamers. I like Stafford against New Orleans. I think that's a good play. We already talked about Jackson Dart. I guess he's not really is he a streamer? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's been very good. Not started in a ton of leagues. If you look at like ESPN data, he's not even started in 50% of leagues, but I think he's a good play as well. And Goff too. Goff is not a week in and week out starter, but this week I really like him against Minnesota.
I also kind of really like Sam Darnold against the Commanders.
It's not a bad matchup at all. No, it's not a bad matchup.
Yeah, the 6 of the 8 opposing quarterbacks to face the Commanders this year have scored at least 18 fantasy points against them. And that's including guys like Geno Smith and Michael Penix Jr. and Caleb Williams, guys that have not consistently been putting up fantasy points. So I think Sam Darnold, if you're in a pickle too, and I like all those guys you named, I think over Bo Nix this week at Houston. Yeah. Like he's scaring me a lot to go on the road.
Bo Nix is a shaky play this week. And I know he's been good the last couple of weeks, but that's the last couple of weeks. And that was against the Giants and the Cowboys. This is the Texans, and it's a road game.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to get into running backs, our favorite and least favorite plays, but we have a running back question here. Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Chuba Hubbard as their RB2.
Andre, I don't love any of them particularly. It's Pollard for me, though, out of that threesome.
I'm going to go Aaron Jones. They really put Jordan Mason on that bench with Aaron Jones back. He should get some targets for sure. And I just do not want to play Tony Pollard, Chuba Hubbard whatsoever. Aaron Jones, I think, has the best possibility to score a touchdown among this group as well.
Detroit's defense is good against running backs, though. That's why I'm like, I'm shying away from Aaron Jones and Mason this week where I can. And Pollard's not great. You hope you get 10 from him in this one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to start any of these guys, but if I had to go with one.
Sorry, Andre's like, well, you guys are supposed to help me. What the heck's going on? You're telling me all these things. Sorry. We all have that situation in one league or another.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to running backs, our favorite plays of the week and least favorite plays. I will say at first my least favorite play was Rico Dowdle, but now that they're saying that he'll be the starter and get more work, I'm leaning off that a little bit. It's still going to be tough. But do you know who I absolutely love this week is Kamani Vidal against the Titans.
Me too.
He's been getting so much volume. He had 2 of the 3 games he's got to start. He's been a beast. And the Titans stink at stopping fantasy running back. So I absolutely love him this week. Like we've been bringing up Kyle Monagai and all these others that are playing Kareem Hunt and Bam Knight. I like Vidal more than all of them this week.
Yeah, he's in my top 12. He's right in that Monagai range for me. 19 plus points in 2 of his 3 games since Marion Hampton went down. Really good play. And Hassan Haskins, remember, he's out now. So, I mean, you're looking at Jarrett Patterson. So Vidal's going to get a lot of touches.
And it's not even like Vidal's also been really efficient outside of he didn't get a lot of touches in that one blowout game against the Colts. But outside of that, he's been highly productive. So that's great. We got another question from Andre Hunter. Is Krosky Merritt worth a pickup? I mean, it all has to depend on who you drop for him. But I'm guessing it would be one of these 3 guys. I would much rather have Krosky Merritt over Tony Pollard or a Chuba.
Yes. Agreed.
Would you rather play him, though, over Aaron Jones or any of these guys?
Yes, okay. I actually would. Yeah, I'm not big on any of those 3 running backs that Andre had said. But so if I had to play one of those 4, if you pick up Bill, it's Krosky Merritt.
I'm still sticking with Aaron Jones, but I do think you should pick up Krosky Merritt and drop Pollard or Chuba for sure. Moving on to our favorite and least favorite wide receiver plays of the week. We brought up Cortland Sutton earlier, and you said you had to play him in a league. Do you want to give me your other options? Because, I don't know. I might need to help you with some start sit.
There's nothing else. I mean, I'm stuck. I kind of have to play him and just hope maybe he gets into the end zone. So you're looking at I think you have Xavier Worthy would be the only other option, and I'm starting Sutton over him.
Yeah. Listen, there have been 2 wide receivers to have good games against the Texans this year. It was Jackson Smith-Njigba and Puka Nacua. I don't
Yeah,
think
those
Sutton's
guys are pretty good though.
Yeah, I don't think Sutton's at their level, and also both of those games were not in Houston. So
Yeah.
this is gonna be really tough for Sutton. But if you have to start him, you have to start him. One of my favorite plays of the week, DK Metcalf. He should ball out against the Colts defense.
Yeah, no question about that. And in that game, Josh Downs is a guy that you can play if you're talking about a streamer. If you need help, I like Juwan Jennings as a streamer this week. Trey Tucker. I mean, if you want to really go deep, we talked about Parker Washington. How about Calvin Austin? I mean, if you are desperate, I'm talking desperate. Okay. The Colts have allowed 51 catches and the 5th most points to slot receivers this year. Desperate. Calvin Austin could help you. This is like 14-team league, and there's nothing on the waiver wire. But, we try to, open the store to everybody. We don't want to just talk to the 10 and 12 teamers. We want to talk to the 14 and 16 teamers too.
Yeah, I do think Calvin Austin in a deep league or DFS could be a big sleeper play. One slot receiver I'm loving this week. No, he's not going to be on waivers in most leagues because that a couple big games he had. But Wan'Dale Robinson against the 49ers.
Yeah, I like him today too. Yep.
Yeah, the 49ers have allowed the 2nd most yards per reception, and touchdowns to slot receivers this year. Yep. And Wan'Dale Robinson leads the NFL in slot receiving yards by like so much. So he has 367 yards from the line in the slot this season. The next closest player is Jamar Chase with 219. So 150 more receiving yards out of the slot than any other player in the NFL. Really like Wan'Dale Robinson, especially with all the injuries to that Giants offense. Yep. Moving to tight end, we talked about how we're getting back on the train on Jake Ferguson for sure. Mm-hmm. We don't care that he had 0 targets last week. But do you think that we're overlooking Kyle Pitts this year? Because I think Kyle Pitts this week against the Patriots could be a really good play.
I like him too. 3 of the last 4 games, he's had double digits. The Patriots are giving up the 5th most points per game to tight ends. Drake London's back, so he's not going to get 9 catches like he had last week. But Pitts at a thin position, very good play. I mentioned Zach Ertz. I have talked about Zach Ertz. I like Zach Ertz a lot this week against Seattle. That game is being played later in the day. If you're really hurting, Theo Johnson against the Niners, you could throw a dart at him. He had 2 games with more than 15 points. 3 of his last 5 have been double digits. So, you hope you get 10 points. Like at tight end, if you're darting guys and streaming guys and you get 9 or 10 points, it's like a win. So Theo Johnson is somebody that you could, and then I mentioned AJ Barner. Mm-hmm. Right, Cooper Kupp's not going to play, and then you've got a great matchup against the Commanders. Their defense has allowed 18 or more points to 4 tight ends, including 3 since week 4. So AJ Barner is, he's the ultimate dart throw.
I still think Colston Loveland is an option. It's extremely.
But the return of Cole Kmet scares me off of Loveland a little bit. That's what scares me because Kmet's active.
I know Kmet. If Kmet was not active, I'd be all in on Loveland.
Yes.
So agreed. This is what makes him extremely risky with Kmet there. But I got against this matchup. I mean, watch Kmet take it all. But why draft Loveland in the first round? 10th overall. We're not going to use him. It's insane. But so I do think that he's a viable option. We have one more question here to finish up today's show. He says, I have Jamar Chase and Marvin Harrison Jr. starting at wide receiver and Trey McBride starting at tight end over Gadsden. And then Keenan Allen at flex, leaving Wan'Dale and T. Higgins on the bench. Your thoughts?
I got to be honest with you. I have Wan'Dale Robinson ranked ahead of T. Higgins and Keenan Allen this week.
Yeah. I think I do, but I think it's really, really risky. If it's full PPR, he doesn't put that here. I'm going Wan'Dale Robinson in my flex. But also having T. Higgins on your bench over Keenan, I think they're all kind of in the same range. I don't have them that far apart, but I definitely your Chase and Harrison Jr. are the right picks for your starting wide receivers. And then I like McBride over Gadsden. It is close for the flex. So you're saying Wan'Dale?
I'm going Wan'Dale over T. Higgins and Keenan Allen. Yeah.
What about Gadsden in your flex over all of them?
Gadsden in my flex. I think I'm probably still going Wan'Dale Robinson there.
Okay. It's a risky one.
It is. I mean, Mark, listen, to me, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just negative Nancy, but I'm waiting for the floor to drop off on Gadsden. I don't know if it's going to be today or not. And he's been red hot. But Wan'Dale Robinson is a guy that, I mean, I understand that, he's not the sexiest name in the world, but he's getting a lot of targets. He had 93 catches last year. And the Niners, as Michelle mentioned, second most points allowed to slot men this year. And so you would think he's going to get a bunch of targets. So if you decide to go Gatson over Wandale or Keenan Allen, I 100% understand it. And I'll give you the check mark on that one. For me, I'd probably go Robinson, though.
That will be it for today's episode. We are on Locked On Network every single day throughout the week. My Fabs over here is on Locked On Dynasty Fantasy Football, and then I'm on the Locked On Fantasy Football Show. If you have any other questions, you can find Michael Fabiano at Michael_Fabiano on Twitter or on X, and then I'm at Ballblastem, BallBlastEM. You can find me there to ask me any questions. We will be here every Sunday now, every morning to help you set your lineups. We hope you get your Week 9 win, and we hope that we can keep helping you throughout the season. We'll be back next week. Bye, y'all.